Welcome to InfoSec World 2025. We're here recording live from the CyberRisk TV studio on the expo floor at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort in Orlando. I'm your host, Mandy Logan, and joining me for this interview is Rob Allen, Chief Product Officer at ThreatLocker. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Mandy. Good to be here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to see you again. I almost wore my ThreatLocker t-shirt, too. So, I have been given direction that we are to discuss misconfigurations.
You say that as if we're even remotely going to possibly stick to that actual direction.
No, but we're taking
let's
this
run
as
with
the
it.
kernel from which we will grow.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good way of describing it.
Okay, so with your background expertise and your positioning with ThreatLocker, tell me like a good synopsis of what is a misconfiguration, what is going on with it, and where do you see it going, and what are the problems?
So interestingly, misconfigurations can, from our perspective, misconfigurations can be something that somebody has done with our tool.
Okay.
That's one kind of misconfiguration. So somebody sets up...
You mean like them not using ring fencing right?
That would be an example.
Okay.
So some of the configurations we check are, is this thing ring fenced appropriately? Another example would be, and these are things that we've actually seen happen, so somebody accidentally sets up a policy to allow anything to run from the users folder. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not a great idea, and the issue is previously you would have no visibility of that. I mean, you could go looking through all your policies, trying to figure out why things were allowed, but the likelihood is you're probably going to find out about something like that when it's too late, so when it's been misused. On top of that, you have other misconfigurations, so not ThreatLocker specific misconfigurations, but like Windows misconfigurations.
Okay.
You should set encryption on this, or your password policy isn't long enough, or complex enough, or whatever the case may be. The problem with misconfigurations is very often you don't find out about them until it's too late, until they've been weaponized, until they've been misused. So the idea of our DAC product is to check for those common misconfigurations, both ThreatLocker ones and also not ThreatLocker ones, tell you why they're important, so give you some information, like this is a summary of it, this is why this is a risk, map it against compliant frameworks as well. So if you're looking to work towards CIS or NIST or whatever the case may be, but say, well look, this is what NIST says about this type of configuration or misconfiguration, this is what CIS says about this type of misconfiguration. And also to give people actionable steps. So this is how you fix this problem. So it's no good just saying, this is the problem, go figure it out yourself. We'll actually explain what the problem is, why it's important, which frameworks it applies to, and tell people how to fix it, whether it be a ThreatLocker solution or a outside of ThreatLocker solution.
So, fantastic. And is that then different or synonymous with improper provisioning?
It is. I mean, people talk about improper provisioning. They talk about configuration drift is something that people will commonly say, well, look, is this going to help us with configuration drift? The way I'd like to describe it is it's more like a fresh set of eyes. It's a new, fresh look at the configurations within your environment. So you think you're adhering to NIST, for example. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but this is actually going to check 170 different things every single day on every single machine. So it will both catch misconfiguration or configuration drift, but it will also be effectively a fresh set of eyes. You say you're adhering to this framework, maybe you're not, and here is the evidence, here is the proof, here is how many of your machines this problem exists on, and here is the solution to it.
That sounds very relieving to me, and yet it makes me question with what is DCA pulling from, especially from the things that are not within the ThreatLocker system. Like, so if you're looking at, well, this is just a Windows misconfiguration, has ThreatLocker's team compiled, hey, these are the most common misconfigurations in a Windows environment or in this situation or in your servers? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And as I said, there's 170 of them today, and there's more being added every single week.
I thought that was specific to NIST. Okay.
No, it's not specific to NIST. This is across all the different frameworks. I mean, some of them are common across frameworks. Block inbound RDP, for example, stuff like that. It's going to be common against frameworks, or, administrators or users have administrative privileges when they shouldn't. Again, that's common across frameworks. But yeah, it's most common ones, but it's also being added to daily and weekly. So, as I said, today it's 170 things that we're checking. Tomorrow it might be 200, 250. We're adding to that list all the time.
Now, within the ThreatLocker dashboard, is that a separate report or request that is run, or is it part of everything?
It is included with all modules. Anybody who's got ThreatLocker will have this defense against configurations dashboard available to them where they get all that information. So it's not an extra product. It's not something that people need to pay for. As I said, our mission with this is to identify weaponizable or problem configurations before they get misused, before it's too late.
And what have you seen as far as success with this?
We start with many things, we start with ourselves. So we run these things in our own environment. Our patch management was another great example of that. Whereas we were using a third-party patch management tool, it was checking all our machines every day. It was coming back every day, every week, every month, going, everything is fine, everything is up to date. Then we set our own patch management loose on it, okay, and discovered all of this random software sitting around in people's downloads folders and portable applications and applications sitting on people's desktops that were not patched. So we use ourselves as a test case with this, and again, we set defense against configurations in our own environment, and a lot of stuff showed up that we didn't even know was there. And again, that's the whole purpose of this. That's the whole idea. I was
going to say, how satisfying that is.
Quite.
It's horrible to realize that it was like that.
Quite.
But how satisfying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As I said, the patch manager is probably the best example because it was literally setting us side by side with another tool that we used every single day that we thought was doing its job, and then all of a sudden we went, it was missing all of these things.
Oh, wow. So thinking of that makes me think of a part from the Cybersecurity Trends report released here at ISW. And I want to refer, actually, I think I have the numbers here. Nope. Maybe I got rid of it. And it showed that 35% of human employees were paying for their own AI tools.
Well, believe it.
So we're discussing this part of extreme shadow IT. Mm-hmm. To me, that becomes not just that, they are doing this on their own. They are doing it probably for a purpose, but how does ThreatLocker help with that situation?
It's probably we this year introduced a web control product, and it's probably the most commonly asked for category number one, but it's also the most common question we're asked in terms of where users can go on the internet is how do we block users from accessing LLMs and AI tools? So web control basically does that. We've got an entire category. It will block all of them except the ones that you want people to be able to access. So if you say, we use Copilot, you can create an exception and say, Copilot is accessible within my environment. But again, look, a lot of this comes down to, yes, you can apply controls, but then somebody goes home and they're doing work from home and then they're using their home computer and then they decide to go on to whatever the case may be. It's something internally that we have, obviously from a product perspective, AI is not our thing. It's not, we don't need to use it, I suppose, is the way to describe it. But some of our product team may find it beneficial. So we've got paid subscriptions. So, it's kind of a procedural thing as well. Now, obviously, we've got very clear directions as to how these tools should be used and not used. But realistically, if people would benefit from them, then I would say that in a lot of cases, it would be in organizations' best interest to just pay for it for people. Right. Don't have them having to go and pay for ChatGPT themselves, just pay for it for them. It's $20, $30 a month.
Fair.
It's a relatively easy solution to the problem, as I said, or just block them entirely.
Very true. Now, for our audience, I'd like you to clarify ThreatLocker's stance on AI and what you mean on why you don't need to use it.
So, a lot of the tools that are out there today lean on AI to help them make decisions about what's good and what's bad. Okay. So is this
thing
good? You
mean that's separate from just looking at the summary or finding anomalies of using the aggregated data that they're able to use?
Absolutely. They're basically saying, look, the behavior of this thing, I'm going to use AI to try and figure out if that is behaving badly, or it's something that should be stopped, or something that should be blocked or deleted, or whatever the case may be. So because of the approach that we take, which is to deny first, so deny by default, we're not depending on making decisions about what's good and what's bad. Fundamentally, we don't care about what's good and what's bad. We don't care if the thing that you're trying to run is the nicest, best, least likely to be weaponized software in the entire world. We're still going to block it because fundamentally blocking things is what we do. But because we take that approach, because we deny by default, we're not depending on making decisions about what's good or what's bad. And the problem with making decisions is it only takes one decision to be wrong for it to be game over. So it doesn't matter if you're right 99.9% of the time, it's the 0.01% of the time that it's wrong that will get you.
Then what is ThreatLocker's methodology for going, well, here's the information that you need? If you're saying you're not looking at something that's right versus wrong, then what is the actionable information provided?
So, as I said, deny by default means that pretty much everything that's running will be blocked by default. But equally, we try and give both users and administrators information about what is trying to be run. So, for example, say a Chrome extension, Cooper, the coupon clipper. Not a lot of people know that's made in China. So we have a product research team that are basically, they have the rather unenviable task of researching every piece of software, every Chrome extension, everything they can find, and giving people information about what it does, what it has access to when it's running, and where it's made. So again, the fact that it's made in China is obviously relevant and might influence a user's decision as to whether or not to request permission to be able to use it. So we literally pop up on the screen when they get a block, this is Coopert, it's a coupon clipper, it's made in China, and it can access your passwords, your website, whatever the case may be. But equally from an application...
I want to clarify then, you're keeping the decision in the human's
No,
control.
we are educating the human user in whether or not the thing that they're asking for is actually something they should be trying to run on a business computer.
Okay.
On top of that,
So
when
like
it comes
informed consent, a new part of that.
to some extent, yeah, to some extent. But on top of that, from an administrator perspective, we give people a testing environment where they can run software. So it's effectively a VDI where they can detonate software, see how it behaves, see if, all the files that this piece of software installs in your machine, do any of them match VirusTotal, for example. So basically a safe and secure environment to actually run software, check it out, see if it behaves. The other thing is most applications in most environments that people run will match one of our built-ins. So like say I try to run Creative Cloud Installer, the likelihood is that will match one of our built-ins because that's an application definition that we manage. If I try and run some dodgy cracked version of Adobe Creative Cloud, it's not going to match our built-in. So that is something that should immediately set off an administrator to go, hold on a second, this isn't actually a legit version of this software. So again, it comes down to informing both the user to try and stop them unnecessarily asking for things that they shouldn't have, and also the administrator to help them make an educated decision as to whether or not this user should be allowed to run this thing. I didn't even mention Insights. So one of the things we introduced this year at Zero Trust World was what we call ThreatLocker Insights, which is, how to describe this? So all of our customers' data is completely siloed. So organization A and organization B, they are completely separated. But there is certain information that is relevant across all environments. So, how often a file runs, or has this file ever been seen before, or when was it first seen in the wild? That kind of information is valuable to an administrator making a decision. So with Insights, what we did was we took limited certain information, like, as I said, things running, where they're accessing the internet, what other programs they interact with, put it in a big central database, do funky stuff with it that I don't quite understand. I know cubing was part of it. I don't even know what that means, I will confess. But basically anonymize it, cube it, and make it available for everyone. So you can see in one screen, in one button click, how often this file has been run across other environments, how often this file is permitted across other environments, denied, when it was first seen in the wild, how it usually behaves. And that's really valuable information, because previously, if we wanted to see a particular file, where it ran, where it got blocked, we could run searches across 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15, 20,000 SQL databases. That would take days. Whereas with Insights, we can give them that actionable information immediately.
Okay, I want to end on that point, because that is blowing my mind a little bit.
It's the biggest of big data.
It is. And then I'm going, wait, and you're still not using AI to aggregate, summarize, catalog, or do anything else. So this is fascinating. It makes me want to know about your infrastructure more too. Well, Rob, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wonderful. To find out more about ThreatLocker, please visit securityweekly.com/ThreatLockerISW. Thank you for joining us, and for you viewing from home or work or a cruise ship, thank you for joining us here. Please visit securityweekly.com/ISW. Stick around, we'll be back for our daily wrap up soon.